There is a place for Esperanto in this language for language's sake trend. In fact, I think a good number of people are drawn to Esperanto for its linguistic play potential. What happens when you can turn any root into a verb or an adverb? All kinds of robustly appreciated shenanigans. What creativity is spawned by the juicy array of endings, by the impish temptation of the mal prefix? Esperanto can be an art language too, a language that fits an aesthetic ideal of what a language should be. Tolkien said as much when he praised Esperanto for possessing the gleam of individuality, coherence, and beauty which appear in the great natural idioms. However, while some may be drawn in by this aspect of Esperanto, and everyone enjoys it, no one sticks around just for that. The life of Esperanto, the community that gives it life, seems to need the glue of the interna ideo to hold it together. So is there a place for that in this new entertainment and fun for fun's sake era? In an indirect way, I think there is. The latest trend in language inventing is not as shallow as it may seem. If you get drawn into the world of artistic language making, by which I mean not the guys who just want to come up with some names for creatures in their fantasy novels, but the community of folks trying to experiment with and explore language by creating complex, interesting languages of their own, if you get drawn into this world, you cannot help but get drawn into the world of natural languages, the exotic ones, the dying ones, the ones that most need someone to pay attention to them, the very ones that Esperantists seek to protect, to keep from being trampled upon. This community looks to those languages for ideas, for inspiration, and they learn quite a lot about them in the process. Now, these entertainment languages may not spring from the ideals behind Esperanto, but they may lead to the discovery of those ideals. I met people who never thought much about language at all, who never took a foreign language in school, but decided to learn Klingon because it seemed like fun. The experience of learning it, of wrapping their minds around it while at the same time learning that some real languages actually use these features, this experience changed the way they thought about language, changed what they took for granted about language, and importantly, pulled them out of their own language, allowing them to see it from the outside. And this is a crucial first step in the adopting of a fair linguistic internationalism. My language is not the only way. My language may look mighty weird to other people. If you can get to this realization through one of these entertainment languages, then you have not wasted your time. When I say that the Esperanto era came to an end, I mean that the era of people churning out European hybrid languages intended to become the New World language came to an end. The era of scientific societies debating the merits of those languages, of the Washington Post and the New York Times reporting on them and editorializing about them, that came to an end. But of course, as you know, Esperanto itself did not come to an end. It outlived its own era. In a way, it helped put an end to its own era. It became so well known that after a point, when the topic of universal language came up, discussion would be quelled with the comment, yes, well, they already tried that with Esperanto. The artistic language inventors of the day are not trying to come up with a universal language. Though these art languages occasionally end up being spoken by some people, they aren't intended to be spoken by anyone. But the way the inventors play, experiment, and interact with imaginary languages leads them to the real world of real languages. And sometimes it even leads them to Esperanto. I met at least 3 people who were impressively fluent in both Klingon and Esperanto. A passion for language is a passion for language. And passion for language is bound up with respect for language. And if respect for language is, as Zamenhof noted, intimately bound up with respect for people, then, well, the world could certainly use a little more of that.